I launched a new Shopify store from scratch. No followers, no email list, no existing audience, selling digital products. And here's the results. In 1 month, I got 3,470 visits and brought in $1,647.74. And in another month, I got 4,539 visits and made $2,013.35. And in another month, I got 5,954 visits and brought in $3,914 in sales. That brings my total for the first 90 days to 13,963 visits and $7,575.09 in sales. Now, maybe you're seeing those numbers and thinking, that's kind of underwhelming. I was expecting more. Or maybe you're thinking, that's actually impressive. I'd like to make that amount online. The truth is, I don't know what lens you're looking through, but me, I think it's pretty incredible, and not just because of the money. It's because of what I'm actually selling. And to understand why this feels like a big deal, you kind of have to understand where I'm coming from. Before I dive deeper into this digital dropshipping store, I want to give a bit of context. I actually started e-commerce back in 2017, dropshipping physical products. Over the years, I built and ran several different stores in different niches, and it was a constant cycle. I was always testing new products, managing suppliers, trying to optimize the stores, and that's how I learned the ropes. But in 2021, I had to stop. So I ceased operations of literally every store except for one, and that's a jewelry brand that I'm partnered in. It's the only one I kept, partly because it was working, but also because it felt personal. It wasn't just another product that I found on AliExpress. There were real designs, real products, and an actual real mission behind the brand. And I've been a part of that store ever since, selling custom bracelets, custom rings, and necklaces, all physical pieces that have to be picked, prepped, and packed by hand. This is me shipping out some of the first orders back in 2021. This is what it looks like. And don't get me wrong, I still love it. The story behind this store means a lot to me. It's taught me what it means to build something real in the e-commerce space. Now, let me show you what fulfilling an order looks like for my digital shop. Nice. That's it. This is one of the biggest reasons why I started exploring digital dropshipping in the first place. Even though I'm not the one physically packing jewelry orders now, because we use a fulfillment center, there's still a surprising amount of overhead involved. You have to always manage your inventory levels, you have to work on new drops and releases, there's a lot of logistics involved, and even on occasion, sometimes my partner will have to stop what he's doing and literally fly to the warehouse to sort something out. With digital products, none of that exists. You make something once and you can sell it forever without actually touching it. There's no warehouse, there's no stock, no printer errors. The product delivers automatically and that's it. And in that aspect, scalability was incredibly appealing to me, especially after spending so many years dealing with dropshipping and inventory. Because with digital, I don't need more systems, I don't need more people, I don't need to manage anything other than the marketing. Because once the product is done and it's up, then you just sell it over and over again. And beyond the scalability, digital dropshipping has unlocked something even more valuable, and that's actual freedom. Because I know what it's like to be tied up in the logistics of selling physical products online. I lived and breathed that every single day for years, but digital products let me break that tether completely. Now I can technically work from anywhere and even disconnect temporarily without the business falling apart. Sales come in whether I'm online or I'm not, and that's ultimately why I'm going all in on digital dropshipping. There's just more flexibility and peace of mind. So I'm not just dabbling in this anymore and thinking of giving it a go. It's the core of what I'm doing now, like on a daily basis, and I can't imagine going the other way now. Because if you've ever run a physical product business, especially ones where you're making the designs, you're sourcing the manufacturers and assembling everything together and then having to actually sell the things, then you already know the feeling. You're constantly running the numbers in your head. What did it cost me to make this? Oh, did I include that fee? How much am I selling this piece for? How much of that is actually profit? Basically, running a business with tight margins is like trying to sprint in the sand. Even when you're making progress, it still feels like a grind. And unless you have outside capital, you can't really take the risks that you want for the business. And this means you're hesitating to try new things because you know that if it doesn't work, that means lost money, and one failed experiment could set you back weeks. But with digital, when I make a product, there's no actual cost per unit. There's no shipping fee eating into my margins. I don't need to charge customers shipping, and there's no worries about being out of stock or not being able to ship to a certain location. Essentially, once I've created the digital product and listed it, then I can just sell it over and over again for an unlimited number of times without having to actually touch it. After that, it's just marketing. marketing costs. And that's the part that really opened my eyes, and it also has a ripple effect. Because when your profit margins are high, you can afford to be generous with your business. You can test new marketing ideas, take the risks that you believe will help you grow the business. You can run promos without panicking, and even occasionally absorb that refund without it ruining your day. And that level of breathing room is something that I never really had with my physical product businesses. And I didn't realize how much I needed that until now. It's also why so many big companies are pivoting to digital and making sure that they have some type of digital offering in their product lines. I'm talking about software companies, online platforms, even coaches and creators. These people all love digital because it scales without stress and it has high margins. And while I'm nowhere near that level with this, seeing that principle work with a product of my own, it's kind of addicting, to be honest. But, and this is important by the way, it's not all perfect. I wish I could say it is, but I gotta tell you the truth. Because if you're watching this video and you're thinking, oh, maybe I want to start digital dropshipping and start my own store and make my own digital product, I believe you should go in with both eyes open. And what I'll say is this: it's kind of easy to start selling digital products right now, which means that a lot of people are trying to sell them. And that's great for accessibility because it basically means that anybody can open up their laptop and put something together to start selling it. But it also means that the product matters the most. The digital playing field is global. You're not just competing with people in your city or people in your country. You're competing with aspiring entrepreneurs and creators in every time zone, every niche, and every price point. And one thing I wasn't totally ready for was the fact that people can take your idea if they see it and they like it and they think it's profitable for you and create a version of it on their own, and they could start selling it. It's easier said than done, but at least in the jewelry world, even if someone likes your design, they have to figure out how to physically recreate it. And even if people do try to copy you, it's usually never exactly the same. But in digital, someone could buy your product, see how it's laid out, what value it provides, and then they could spend the next while recreating it for themselves. But personally, I feel like the people that do that type of thing are kind of lazy, and I feel like they don't usually get very far. And maybe the biggest surprise to me is that not everybody values digital products the way they should. You'll have people that will hesitate to buy something for $5 that could save them hours of headache and frustration, and then they'll just go turn around and spend $7, $8, sometimes $10 on a latte at Starbucks. And they won't even think twice about it either. And for a long time, I was that person as well. I'd second guess buying a $50 problem-solving PDF because I thought I could do it on my own, and then I ended up just spending way more time trying to figure it out myself versus just actually paying for the digital solution. So honestly, I get it. But I believe with where we're headed right now in this digital era, more and more people are starting to spend money on digital products and become aware of what these products are. And I think this is an amazing thing, both for the consumer side and for the seller side. And I would prefer to be on both instead of just the consumer side. Now, also in my experience, the pricing can be where things get a little bit tricky because you want your products to be accessible, but you also need to make sure that this is actually worth your time. Because if you end up pricing your product too low, you end up doing a ton of work for almost nothing. If you price it too high, especially without the right perceived value or the right positioning, then you take that risk of scaring people away. And so far in my experience, I found that the sweet spot for low ticket digital products is around like $27 to $47. It's enough to the point where if I get a notification for a sale, it still feels meaningful, but it's still an easy yes for most customers. And with that being said, I also would say don't let that price range I mentioned box you in, because there are digital products selling right now for $500, even $5,000, and people are happily paying it. The difference? Higher ticket products, they solve big urgent problems, and typically higher ticket digital products solve a problem in a different way. For example, a low ticket digital product might just be a simple PDF, but a higher ticket product might be a done with you type of solution where someone who has experience in a certain niche is giving you training, which maybe includes PDFs, course content, and some type of AI tool, let's say, and also comes with some type of formal support from the person who has that experience and created this product. In short, the bigger the problem, the bigger the price. So yeah, I mean, you can make a business out of this by selling low ticket, simple digital products, but you can also sell premium solutions if you feel called to share your experience inside of a digital product that can help other people. And I don't want to make this video sound like I'm just hyping up digital products too much, because while there are a lot of advantages, It's not just a magic bullet or a magic pill you can take. Digital products still require making sure the product is actually good. You need to have a good design and a real strategy. And if you go into this thinking that you're going to be making passive income on day one, then you're probably going to be disappointed because your expectations are not in the right place and it's not going to turn out how you want it. But if you're willing to test this, refine it, and actually give it some time, I believe you'll be super happy with the results. Especially if you're coming from a physical product background like I was, it's actually an advantage to you. So what's next? Honestly, this is the next chapter for me. I'm going all in on digital, and it's the direction that I'm focused on and where I want to build. And I've seen this story time and time again over the years. Typically, when you start something new, there's a few results that may come in, a few sales here and there. But when I really stick to something and I focus on it and I learn from other places and other people, then I typically figure out what the right actions are to take that will help me make a breakthrough and have a compounding effect that makes this whole thing giant. So one idea that I'm working on right now is for a subscription-based digital product, because I think it's cool that you can build a digital product and sell it one time, but what if I could get 1,000 people to pay me $50 a month for some type of digital product? That would be $50,000 every single month in recurring revenue without having to ship anything or worry about having the inventory. So there's a few ideas that I have in the back of my mind, and they're all pretty much related to artificial intelligence and helping people in this space. And it's in the planning stage, but it is pretty appealing to me because when you add recurring revenue to any type of business, it gives you just even more room to play with because you have stability, which means that you can take bigger risks to reinvest into more ideas that may just turn into the one that changes your life forever and on a huge scale. And when you crack the code of building a recurring revenue digital product business, I believe that's when you have something that is actually sellable. Now, don't get me wrong, like the numbers sound amazing and I really do believe in this. So if I move forward with this specific idea, I'll definitely make sure to share it in a future video. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. And yes, I also do plan on making a video to walk through everything I've done to get this off the ground, from how I picked the niche to building the product to setting up the store and the basic systems that you need to make sure everything runs smoothly. So if that's something you want to see and learn about, just make sure you hit that like button so that I know. Now, as far as the jewelry store, it's still active and it's actually growing, but how I think about it has shifted drastically. There's just something about the digital product model that clicks with me. I like the freedom, I like the low friction, I like being able to make sales in my sleep and also have orders fulfilled while I sleep. It's kind of a funny thing. And I know that it's not everyone's path. Some people thrive in the physical product space. They love the hands-on work, the branding, the packaging, and all that good stuff. But for me, it's not just about revenue anymore. It's about how the business fits into the rest of my life and how it supports the lifestyle that I actually want. I think that's something a lot of people don't think about when it comes to starting a new business online. They just look for whatever seems to have the biggest numbers, but they're typically looking at revenue numbers and not actual profit numbers and the things that they are going to need to do on a daily basis in order to make it something they enjoy and something sustainable. So for me, I'm just picking a vehicle that I feel best serves my interests and what I want to do and what I'm good at. And even if I'm not making the biggest revenue numbers in the world, my margins are good, my margins are healthy, and I have something that I truly can scale over time. And I know a lot of people are also going to ask about the store and about the product here, but I'm not sharing it publicly, at least not yet. Not because I'm trying to be secretive, but because I want to keep the data clean. I want to be able to show what's actually possible when you build from scratch, because once I reveal it, everything changes. So for now, I'm keeping it under wraps. It's kind of funny actually. Starting this whole digital dropshipping thing has made me feel like a beginner again. And in some ways that's been a gift. It definitely reminded me how overwhelming the first steps of starting something new can actually be and how overthinking can basically stop you in your tracks from making any real progress. So if you're just starting out, here's my unsolicited advice. First, stop trying to do everything. There's a million different things you could do right now to try to make money. And if you try to study them all, you'll end up doing nothing. Instead, just focus on one thing. If you can solve one simple problem for one specific group of people, and you can do that for them in the form of a digital solution, then you are well on your way to making your first sales. An easy place to start is to ask yourself, what is something that I overcame myself that I used to struggle with? Maybe it was drinking alcohol and you decided that was no longer good for you, and you found a solution one way or the other and you've overcome that problem. Well, if you had that problem, that also means there are other people out there that have that problem and they want wanted to solve it. So if you can take whatever that solution was for you and put that into the form of a problem-solving digital product, now you can sell it to that group. So just start by thinking of ideas, maybe some things that you've solved for yourself, or maybe like going to the gym a lot and it's something you feel you have a lot of experience in. That's an advantage you have. So start there. Don't wait to be perfect or have the best idea in the world, because it's never going to come. And after you have some ideas, just start picking up the basics. You need to learn how to actually make the digital product, then you need to put it up on a store and start marketing it so that you can actually make sales. And there's no hacks to it. Like seriously, there's no like secret strategy. So far in my experience, it's just about doing the simple things and doing them over and over until you do them right. So if you do the things that I've mentioned over the last couple of minutes, then you'll get to the point of your first sales. Maybe not overnight, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually you will. And from there, it's game on. Now, the last thing I'll say here is that comparison really is a thief of joy. I'm sure you see a ton of people all over social media posting their numbers, saying that they're making this much money. And then you start wondering, like, am I behind? This guy is my age and he's making this much money. What's wrong with me? But the truth is that everyone operates at their own pace, individually and in their business. There's always going to be someone that's making more money than you, someone that's younger than you, someone that's older than you, someone making less money than you. You just have to focus on where you are at now. And when you get your product up, some of them are slow. They're slow burners, as I call them. They take a little while to warm up, but when they warm up, they blow up. On the other hand, you might have something that goes viral like pretty soon, pretty early into it, and then it maybe fizzles out. And none of it's wrong. So if you're watching this and you feel like you're behind, just remember this: the most important things that will change your life is focusing on the next step and the end goal. So let's say your first end goal is to just make your first digital product sale. Okay, well, what's my next step? Well, the first step is to actually have a digital product idea. So if I just focus on that, that moves me towards that goal of making my first sale. But if I start overthinking about all of the different things I need to do to set up the store, make the product, and do all of this and that, then you're gonna get overwhelmed. But I found that for me, if I just focus on the next step and keep my end goal in mind, then I can make progress a lot smoother. And I'll leave you with this: since you've made it here to the end of this video, I would love to be able to help you out in getting your first sales and launching your own digital dropshipping store. So if you're interested in working with me side by side, just message me the word YouTube on my Instagram and I'll send you the details of how it works. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a big like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.